I have almost 10,000 subscribers on a channel that's only 3 weeks old, as well as 2.9 million views and like 200,000 watch hours on this channel. And I'm going to tell you in this video exactly why. I'm going to tell you even things that I only tell students inside of my program that I'm going to release for free for the very first time. So let's get right into this. Let's talk about how I got from 0 to 1,000 subscribers, not just 1,000 subscribers, but almost 10,000, as well as getting monetized in just under 3 weeks. So first off, you know, everybody who knows me, who's been watching my videos, who knows about my content, knows I always preach the 5 T's of YouTube. And I only usually release the 4 T's for free, and I save the 5th one for my students inside the program. But today only, I'm going to tell you the 5th T for absolutely free, as well as some other things as well. And you can probably see there are 6 dashes on this line here on your road to 1,000 subscribers. So it's not just going to be the 5 T's. There's also one more secret that I'm going to share with you towards the end. But let's start off with the first T, which is going to be topics. Sorry that my handwriting is going to be bad on this, but I'm doing my best here on this whiteboard. But first one is going to be topics. As you can see right here, you have to pick your topic very, very carefully. And I have a formula that's in my program where I teach you exactly how to pick your topics very carefully without doing much work, without doing too much research. It's actually pretty easy. You actually don't have to put much work in at all when it comes to these things. And I've talked about it for free in some of my other content as well that you can go check out. But basically all you have to do to choose the proper topics is, one, understand the timing of things, understand how much authority you have in a space, and we'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on in the video whenever we get to one of the other T's. I'm sure you can guess what that is. But to pick a good topic, all you have to do is really understand the niche that you're in. Once you understand the niche that you're in, go to the other channels. I always talk about this. Leverage the other people's content within your niche. Just go to the other people's channels within that niche. Look at the topics that they post. What do they post the most often? What gets the most views? And kind of put your own spin on those topics and just use the same topics. But like I said, put your own spin on it. Make sure that people know it's original ideas within the title and the thumbnail, because if you don't, then people are just going to see that it's regurgitated content. They're not even going to give it a chance. They're not even going to give it a click. So make sure that they know for a fact. And like I said, it's really just not that hard. It's not that you don't have to put that much work in, because when you leverage other people's content, you not only cut down on the work, but you also, like, these people have done trial and error for years and years to figure out what is the most optimized way of going about YouTube and doing the 5 T's that I'm going to share with you in this video. They've been doing this for years. They've been doing the trial and error for years. So you're just skipping over a huge step. You're skipping over like a few years of trial and error because you're just leveraging their content. You're not copying it, but you're leveraging it. The second T that we're going to go over is going to be titles. Stu, I suck at this, I'm sorry. But titles is the second T that we're going to be going over in this video. Titles is pretty much the same thing. You can leverage other people's content. You do have to look for very specific things though, whereas you don't have to look for as specific things when it comes to topics. But for titles, you need to look for things that I call buzzwords, as well as things that everybody calls keywords. But not many people talk about the buzzword side of things. Real quick, to knock out the keyword side, if you look for keywords, it's going to be things that's going to optimize your video and getting in the algorithm. So let's just say you're in the YouTube growth niche, like this video is going to be right here. Grow fast on YouTube is going to be great keyword stuffing, like how to grow from 1,000 or 0 to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Stuff like that is keywords where it's highly searchable. You know, people are looking for it all the time. People probably with small channels watch videos like that all the time. So it's easily going to let the algorithm know, hey, this is this type of video. Let's push this out to people who watch this type of video, as well as the same thing with search engine optimization, SEO. So keywords is more like things that's going to tell the algorithm and the search engine, hey, let's push this video to these types of people. Now, buzzwords, like I said, is something that a lot of people don't talk about. People just don't talk about buzzwords for whatever reason, even though they're supremely important when it comes to crafting good titles. In my opinion, I think that you should have one good set of keywords and one good set of buzzwords in every single title. It's too much to go into in this video, but I might go into it later on in a different video. As far as spotting buzzwords is going to be very, very niche specific, as well as keywords are when it comes to different YouTube channels and different YouTube niches. So you have to understand what niche you're in. And I don't have any examples brought up on the screen right here, but let's just take a channel like that does negative stuff, like negative type content where they're, you know, it's a culture war type channel, or they're trashing on movies a lot, like those types of channels. they're going to do really well with the buzzwords such as destroys, annihilates, eviscerates, like things like that, negative buzzwords. Whereas let's take a grow on YouTube channel and talk about their buzzwords. It's going to be like grow fast, explode, rapidly increase, things like that. Same thing for like the financial niche. So you have to really understand the buzzwords within your niche. And once again, if you want to learn very fast and not go through years and years of trial and error, you can easily just leverage other people's content and you can find out what makes a good title pretty quickly. Let's move on to the next T though, which is going to be, I'm sure you could have guessed it, thumbnails. And I'm just going to put thumbs. I don't even think you can read that. So I don't even know why I'm using the whiteboard at this point, but thumbnails is going to be, once again, more of the same. You need to leverage other people's content, but it is going to be, once again, very niche specific. And I go into this in depth, extremely in depth in the course, because this is so important. It's not even funny how many people just totally gloss over this, but it's very niche specific in terms of thumbnails as well. Let's use the same examples that we use for titles, right? Negative culture war videos, or they're trashing on movies type videos. They're going to use a lot of red text, a lot of destroys, same types of buzzwords in their thumbnails as well as in their titles. They're also going to use a lot of red, a lot of downtrends, a lot of those types of arrows that point down, a lot of red circles, a lot of red text that you can tell that the thumbnail is supposed to be negative. It's supposed to go towards that audience that wants to trash on whatever they're talking about. You know, it's going to be, like I said, a lot of red arrows and things like that. Whereas the grow on YouTube niche is going to have a lot of uptrend graphs. It's going to be a lot of green, maybe some blue mixed in there, but it's going to show a lot of uptrend graphs, a lot of growth, a lot of positive things. They want you to associate positive things with the YouTube growth niche, with the financial niche, whereas when you go to the culture war niche or things that you want to seem more negative and to attract that audience, it's going to make you feel more negative when you see the thumbnail, because that's the audience that they're trying to attract. And I'm convinced that most people use leveraging other people's content out there that have larger channels, because I don't think that most people are this intentional when it goes to creating their titles and thumbnails. I think they just use what they see other people use and what works for other people, which is the smart way to do things. But you can actually learn why people are doing this, and it can make you able to go into any niche and succeed immediately if you actually learn the things that I'm telling you here. Why people make certain thumbnails the way they do, why people make certain titles the way they do. You can go and be successful in any niche if you understand these things, I promise you. And when it comes to thumbnails, a lot of people think it's about graphic design. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's not about graphic design. Crafting a good thumbnail is way more about color theory and psychology than it is about graphic design. You don't have to be a great, obviously those things go into graphic design as well, but it's way more about color theory and psychology than it is about graphic design. So if you can get the psychology right of the thumbnail, and if you want your video to be associated with negativity, know how to do that. And if you want your video to be associated with positivity and growth, then you should know how to do that as well. The fourth T is going to be timing, and I'm doing my absolute best once again. It looks absolutely awful. But timing is going to be the fourth T, and that comes once again with topics. So you have to understand where you stand as an authority figure within your niche. If you're a really small channel and you're amongst a whole bunch of bigger channels, you're going to have to be early on some videos if you really want to go viral. Whereas if you're a larger channel, you see one of the smaller channels post some breaking news or post some trending topic that nobody else really covered yet, you can probably jump on it and outrank that smaller channel. If you're a small channel though, you can play off of some of what the bigger channels post if you put your own spin on it, but you have to understand that once these larger channels, once these authority figures within the niche post something, it's probably not going to take off and go absolutely viral for your smaller channel unless you put a really, really interesting spin on it to where people would like to choose that over the one that the larger channel posted. But once you are a larger channel, once you are the authority figure or one of the authority figures within your niche, you have a lot more leeway, you have a lot more gap where you can, be a little bit late on certain topics, where you don't have to worry about timing as much. When you're a smaller channel, you really, really want to take advantage of timing. If there's any sort of trending topic that you can take advantage of that larger channels haven't yet, you have to jump on that, because that's one of the main ways that people grow on YouTube really quickly. The fifth, and the one that I always keep secret, I'm just going to abbreviate this here. All right, I'm going to abbreviate that, but it's supposed to say tenacity. I understand that this is probably, you're probably going to roast me in the comments for the way I'm writing these things. Tenacity is going to be the fifth T, and it's really just comes down to mindset, but I wanted it to be a T word because I want it to be 5 T's instead of 4 T's plus 1 M. But yeah, it's really just comes down to mindset. Like, in my opinion, And I know that you're going to act like I lost my mind whenever I say stuff like this. The truth is I have lost my mind. I lost the mind that you currently have and gained the mind that, allowed you to be successful on YouTube. Like, that's just straight up what it is. I did lose my mind. And you have to be obsessive when it comes to YouTube. You have to, even when you have 0 subscribers, you have to carry yourself as a YouTuber if you want to be a YouTuber. And I know that sounds like woo-woo, or, I'm trying to manifest it. Like, no, you just have to be, okay, when I wake up today, what is my number one priority? If I have to do something for YouTube today, that is my number one priority. And if it's not, you're not going to make it. Like, you have to be obsessive. You have to be tenacious. You have to see your competition and want to absolutely crush them. And honestly, it's not that hard. Like, I'll say it once again, it's not that hard. It's just putting in the work. If you're willing to work 7 days a week and always meet deadlines, always upload on the times that you're supposed to, and outwork your competition, which most of the time, like I said, is not that hard. These established channels, they don't work that hard. They take weekends off. They don't work 7 days a week. That's why it's been so easy for me to go from niche to niche and grow a channel, because these other channels don't work that hard. They just don't. Or they blow up and they're still hard workers, but they branch off into other areas. They're now into real estate because they've made enough money to where they can buy a bunch of real estate. And now, they're kind of 50-50 between real estate and YouTube. So they're not all like these larger channels. They're either really lazy or they're going to put their time into other things outside of YouTube, which overall just creates more opportunity for you. If you have that tenacious mindset, if you actually have that tenacity, if you're willing to put the work in, you can definitely make it. You can become an authority figure in whatever niche that you're in. And the last one, it's not a T, but it is just an extra one that I wanted to throw in there, is value or charisma. You have to have one of the two. You have to have either value or entertainment, charisma, whatever it is. Personally, I like to use value because I think it's a lot more consistent, but whatever niche you're in is going to kind of determine if you want to use value or charisma. For channels like this, you have to add value, and obviously charisma is extra. If you're very entertaining, if you're very charismatic, that's extra. I kind of focus more on the educational side of things just because I truly do like to educate people, but you have to have one of those things. Like, if you just have the 5 T's, topics, titles, thumbnails, timing, tenacity, and you don't have charisma, you don't have value, you don't have entertainment, then you don't really have a successful channel idea. You have to have that value. You have to have something to bring to the marketplace. And entertainment and charisma kind of go with value. Like, they are valuable things, but value isn't always entertainment and charisma, if you know what I'm saying. Like, value can be, hey, I know this thing that you don't know. Here's what you don't know and what I do. And you can say it in a very boring way and it still brings value to people. Whereas if you're entertaining, it's still bringing value, but it doesn't go the other way around. So those are the 6 things that I did in order to get from 0 to 1,000. It's actually more like 10,000 subscribers, but I got monetized in just 3 weeks on a brand new channel on YouTube. That's what I did. It's very simple. Like I said, it's not easy at all, and it's going to take you a really long time. I think that another main thing that keeps people down is arrogance and ego. They don't ever want to ask for help. They don't want to get help. They're not willing to hire a mentor. They're not willing to enter a coaching program like mine, which if you do want to enter it, the link is in the description to book a call. Just don't be scared, to get help. A lot of people, like I said, have such big egos that they're too scared to ask for help. They're too scared to admit that they don't know exactly what they're doing, and it can really skyrocket. It can really explode your growth really early on if you do, or even if you're just trying to scale a YouTube channel, even if you're not just starting, it can really explode your growth if you just simply ask for help. Someone who's been studying this for 5 or 6 years, it can really help you out. But let me know in the comments what you guys thought of these 5 T's plus the additional tip that I gave you there. And what do you think about me going from 0 subs to almost 10,000 subs and almost 3 million views on a brand new YouTube channel? Let me know what you're thinking about this entire video.